Good evening and welcome to the Board of Education meeting for today, July 25th, 2023. We just came from closed session and now we're resuming back in open session. Let's start with attendance and then we'll follow with the Pledge of Allegiance. So Jesse, would you start please?
Jesse Van Zee, representative for Area 1.
Good evening. I'm Susanna Ordway, representing Area 4.
Hi, everybody. Shelley Clark, representing Area 2.
Hi, I'm Laura Bratt, representing Area 3.
And Rachel Hurd, current board president representing Area 5. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd all please stand. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the first item on our agenda is to report out on actions taken in closed session, and we have a few. The first one is in the matter of Students' Record Challenge Case 01 of 2324. The board voted 5-0 to uphold the teacher's grade. Then related to some particular OHA cases, which is Office of Administrative Hearing, I believe, for case number 2023060179 in the matter of Student versus District, case number, what I just read, the board in closed session took action to approve a settlement agreement arising out of a dispute related to special education for the student with a total monetary value of $142,000. The board vote to approve the settlement agreement was 5-0. And then there was a second Office of Administrative Hearing case number. This one is 202-305-0818. In this matter of Student versus District in OAH case number 202-305-0818, the board in closed session took action to approve a settlement agreement arising out of a dispute related to special education for the student with a total monetary value of $64,000. The board vote to approve this settlement was 5-0. And that's the report from closed session. That takes us to acceptance of minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for June 23rd? Let's do both the regular meeting and the special meeting that we did that day together.
I'll make a motion to approve both.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jesse.
The motion was made by Board Member Bratt and seconded by Board Member Van Zee. Roll call vote. Board Member Van Zee.
Aye.
Board Member Ordway.
Aye.
Board Member Clark.
Aye.
Board Member Bratt.
Aye.
Board Member Hurd.
Aye.
The motion passes 5-0.
Okay, this takes us to agenda approval and consent action. The first one, 8.1, acceptance of open session agenda. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the open session agenda.
I'll second.
The motion was made by Board Member Clark and seconded by Board Member Ordway. Roll call vote. Board Member Van Zee.
Aye.
Board Member Ordway.
Aye.
Board Member Clark.
Aye.
Board Member Bratt.
Aye.
Board Member Hurd.
Aye.
The motion passes 5-0.
Okay, now we are on approval of consent agenda. Consent items are items that are deemed routine in nature and they get approved all in one motion unless a member of the board would like to pull one for separate consideration or if staff has any recommendations, which I do not see any requests from the board. Okay, then we have a motion to approve consent.
I'll make the motion to approve consent.
Thank you.
I'll second.
The motion was made by Board Member Bratt and seconded by Board Member Clark. Roll call vote. Board Member Van Zee.
Aye.
Board Member Ordway.
Aye.
Board Member Clark.
Aye.
Board Member Bratt.
Aye.
Board Member Hurd.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, now we're on reports to the board. The first one, 9.1, is public comment for non-agenda items. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Do we have any cards? Okay. As these are coming forward, I'll just remind speakers that these are for items that are not on the agenda, and you have 3 minutes to speak to us about it. We do have a card from Tanisha Jones, and I think the last one is Burley. Thank you. It's kind of squished in against the line. And she is has children at Country Club School. Welcome up.
Good evening. I'm Tanisha. I was just informed of some information that was disturbing. So, according to the U.S. News and World Report, out of 163 countries in the past 10 years, the United States had the worst decline. In 2022, Sclero determined that California was 44th out of the 50 states in education, according to a 42-point analysis. According to this graph here, ignorance, pride, and weakness increases, and knowledge, power, and wealth decreases. It doesn't matter how you flip it, it's the same. It doesn't matter. Now, if we look at the third component, sorry, that was taking too good. Sorry. And as you can see, I know how to use stuff. Okay. Now, as you look at the third component, knowledge, power, and wealth, as it decreases as ignorance, pride, and poverty and weakness increases, is directly proportionate to it. So, and if you guys have any question about this graph, just look at San Francisco. What is going on there? How it's declined. So, people should know that it's okay to be different from everybody else. And we are all made in our own idiosyncrasies, thoughts, and opinions and issues. But minor gender dysphoria has increased 500% since 2010. Genders being male and female is the truth. But what a person thinks, says, or does in their gender is a spectrum, and it does not matter. It's that person's decision. So, are they teaching gender identity, or are they teaching sexuality to children that don't know their right hand from their left, to kids that shouldn't know anything about this? The double-minded and confusion and mental health issues comes because of the lack of love for self, as well as the lack of love from others and for themselves. Suicide is the leading cause of death between 10 and 34 years old in the United States. And those among the LGBTQ community are the highest of the group in this rate. California is the third largest state in the U.S. and the most homeless, the most LGBTQ laws and regulations, and again, among the lowest ranked in education. So my challenge is to us parents and concerned citizens of this great nation to stand up to the ignorance that we quietly allow to try to consider. It's like ants in the wall of your house or a dam which has cracks. When the ants and water finally break through, the foundation is damaged and repairs have to be done or the structure will be lost. If we don't do anything, then we'll have a problem. Thank you for your time.
Sorry, my mic was off. Thank you. Okay, seeing no more public comment, we will move to item 9.2, Association President's Reports. And we do not have any association presidents in the audience, so we will move on to 9.3 and the Superintendent's Report.
Thank you, President Hurd. And the only thing I wanted to mention today as we get ready for the new school year, summer is amazing, but it's time for us to move forward. And tomorrow, all of our leaders will be gathered together for the start of what we met last week for what we called Nuts and Bolts, where we talked about all the very important practical issues that we need to engage in for the start of the school year. Tomorrow and the next day, we're going to be engaged in our strategic directions and the work that we're doing together. So we're expecting 200 people tomorrow, all of our leaders, all of our office managers, everyone whose role it is to create conditions to support our students and our staff and work closely with our community. So after that, we just get started. New teachers, new administrators, various sessions and processes so that we are ready to go for the opening day of school. So we look forward to it and the year ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, this brings us to action items and public hearings. On 10.1, we have consideration of the annual approval of membership of committee on assignments for teacher credentialing. And Melanie, that's you.
Okay, thank you. Trustees, good evening. As you're aware, we have some very bright and talented teachers among the ranks in San Ramon Valley Unified. And on occasion, we like to tap into their special, unique skills and expertise and ask them to teach a variety of elective courses. And teaching outside of their credential authorization requires approval from what we refer to as a committee on assignment. So there is a process that we use in the district required by the commission that allows us to, with teacher agreement and approval by a committee, to allow teachers to teach outside of their credential authorization for a period of 1 year. It can be extended beyond the year. And so we are asking, this is an annual process that we do every single year. So we're asking for your approval that we continue to move forward with our process for the Committee on Assignment. Attached to the board report, you will see a copy of our district plan on how we utilize Committee on Assignments to review and consider with teacher consent assignment to teach out of the credential authorization area for elective courses, what's required under the education code. And so this evening we're making a recommendation that you approve membership for the Committee on Assignments for the 23-24 school year as described in the outlined plan.
Any questions for Melanie?
How do we choose who teaches outside their credential? Like, does a teacher come and say, I have a special talent that I'd like to be able to teach this, or do we seek them out, or how do we?
It's a combination of those things. It kind of depends on what the needs are in terms of student needs, in terms of what we're looking at in courses that we're trying to provide. Sometimes we have teachers that come forward and make requests, course proposals. As you know, Deb Pettish oversees that process. So it's a variety of ways that those things come about. We have a number of teachers that have special talents and skills that have been utilizing and teaching elective courses outside of their credential area based on education and expertise and experience that they have outside of their credential area.
And how do we evaluate that?
So it's based on an individual basis, kind of based upon the course. It is evaluated based upon the criteria that's outlined under the education code for meeting the qualifications for Committee on Assignment.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? You have a motion to approve the, oh, yes. In the nick of time. Taiwan's a country. Come on up.
Hello, everyone. I hope you all had a great summer. Forgive me for running here late because there was another meeting at the City Hall. I have a question, though. As a parent, I saw in the past couple of years in the area of Spanish, as well as certain subject matters, I just felt like the teachers were not grading. There were times that the grades were given for a period of, deadline where the grades need to turn in. And my students could not answer my question as to, do you know why this is what you got? And the answer is no. Did you go check? Yes, but, it just, I don't know. I think technology to some extent is working against our education, because back then when everything was physical, like when I was a teacher, there was an accountability of grading. So when you have teachers who are not really subject matter teachers, how do you, I don't know. I am not sure. I'm not against this, first of all. I'm not here to disapprove this. I'm just saying that I just want to bring to your attention what I've been observing, especially in the area of Spanish. There were finals that were given like 2 weeks before the finals week and things like that. That kind of practice has to stop because it's unfair to students when some of them have extracurricular activities and then they are, timing out their studies, and when the teacher decides that they're able to give the finals 2 weeks or a week and a half before the finals week, it is really detrimental to certain students who have extracurricular activities. And if you're honest and sincere about that, everyone is different, there are different talents, and everyone should go into different they have their own destinies, then you should please make sure that everything follows by procedures. And I understand exceptions sometimes need to be made, but they need to be made in such an accountable way. And these teachers need to also have mentor teachers. I mean, are they in the department, say like Spanish? Is there going to be someone who is going to be mentoring the new teachers, or the teacher who is, allowed to teach a certain way? I'm not sure what kind of teacher is able to teach Spanish like on the fly like that. So that wasn't explained. My time is up. Thank you.
Okay, so on that item, I think we should, Melanie, actually, would you mind clarifying, there's 3 different situations in this policy, and could you kind of explain how it relates to the teacher's credential, but it's the fine detail about that it's not in their credential, but it's related?
Yes, so basically,
I didn't ask that
in
very
order
much.
to be eligible for a committee on assignment, a teacher has to have a base credential. So for example, they have to have a single subject credential at the secondary level in one area. And in order to be considered for committee on assignment to teach out of their specific credential authorization area, they have to prove subject matter competency. So they have to demonstrate that they have the skills and experience in a certain subject area to teach an additional elective course. They also, for example, have to demonstrate that they have at least 12 semester units in a particular subject matter area, and so on. So there's a number of criteria that require them to meet that committee on assignment requirement through the commission for us to be able to approve it. So we're basically, as a district, through our own committee on assignment, we're basically carrying out and ensuring that in the teachers that we are considering and approving for committee on assignment, that we're actually following the education code and what's outlined by the Commission of Teacher Credential.
And we utilize this when we really don't have another option, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right. And with that, let's have a motion to approve item 10.1, please.
I'll make a motion to approve item 10.1.
I'll second.
Thanks.
The motion was made by Board Member Bratt and seconded by Board Member Van Zee. Roll call vote. Board Member Van Zee.
Aye.
Board Member Ordway.
Aye.
Board Member Clark.
Aye.
Board Member Bratt.
Aye.
Board Member Hurd.
Aye.
The motion passes 5-0.
Okay, now we're on item 10.2. This is consideration of approval of the 2023-24 board member school liaison assignments. And if you recall, we have a process where we've divided schools and we have a rotation. And used to be a 2-year rotation. A few years ago, it moved to a 1-year rotation just so that we could all kind of touch schools a little faster. The request has been made that we look at all of this. And the impetus for that is that when we've gone to trustee areas, we are now elected by not the community at large, but a smaller community. And so just, big picture wise, how does that work? We decided to put this on the agenda Friday, and there wasn't really a whole lot of time to do the analysis that we had hoped to do. So I hope it's okay. I was kind of intrigued with it and sort of dug in. What I've got at the top of this spreadsheet, if you guys want to turn around while I talk, is I've got our trustee areas listed over there on the far left. I analyzed going through those maps that we have on the district website that break out the elementary assignments, the middle and the high, and noted where we were the sole liaison or the sole representative for that area. So that's what the first chunk is. You can see the shared is a whole lot. And this was actually kind of by design, by how when the previous boards first set this up. But so you can see that where Laura is in the Doherty Valley, her group of schools is much smaller. And that was also by design of how the areas were broken up, because Doherty Valley was considered minority majority. And so the focus on Doherty Valley for that reason was very concentrated. Then if we go to the next column, Logan, can you scoot to the, here we go. Small was like where you had small representation. Tiny was where it was really just maybe a street or two. And then land but no houses is what's in the far part over there. And that's where those of us who have the areas on the outskirts have a lot of area that's defined, but nobody lives there. So I broke it all out like that. And then I made this grid, Logan, if you can go back to the other side, and took the areas that we already have defined right now. So just keep it right there. Yeah. So, and then it's broken by elementary, middle, and high school. So in our current group 1, we have, as you can see there, Country Club, Alamo, Greenbrook, all that. And then the next column lists which trustee areas touch that. And then I also broke it out where you can see it visually. And then same with 2, 3, 4, 5. And so, Logan, if you can scoot down just a smidge more to the totals. There, one more row. There you go. You can see that in trustee area, I'm sorry, group 1, right? The one that's over there on the far left. Jesse, for example, as trustee area 1 has 1 that is significant and 4 that are small. So I made the capital X's where if you were in group 1 or group 2, and then if it was the small or the very small or the tiny, whatever it was labeled, it was in the second half of the column. And so that shows how it distributes across each of the trustee areas. And so Logan, if you can go a little further to the right. Oh, the other part is up, where do I have that? I show that, I think it's up at the top. You can see that, for example, trustee area 3, which is Laura's, because of the way her boundaries are defined, she has just a much more discrete set of schools that she represents, right, as an elected official. Whereas Jesse, Shelley, and I have a whole lot, and Susanna's kind of in between. If you,
yours overlap.
exactly, exactly. So Logan, can you push up to the top again? So the numbers of if you have 1 and 2 or 2 and 1 is with for Shelley, Jesse, and I is very similar because we have lots of this overlap. Whereas for Susanna and Laura, it's kind of smaller of what the possible options are. So if you can scroll down just a bit to where it shows the totals for the current state, you can see that for the most part, it's fairly well distributed. Where I highlighted it in yellow was where it seemed like those seemed like they could be improved. I started working on a next level piece of, okay, what if we were to scrap the whole thing and like really carefully design it so that it was more even per cycle. But I ran out of time to really finish it. And I really feel like before we even look at that or entertain that, we really should have a more holistic discussion about the topic at large. Okay. So that was just some data to frame it. I know other board members may have, different feelings about this whole process. We all know that the school liaison assignments are just the schools that we are really there to visit and are a district face to for that year, and then it rotates. It doesn't affect which schools we go to music concerts at or get invited to art shows or anything like that. But anyway, this was a starting point of looking at what we currently have. Take it away.
So I have some thoughts. So I've actually been thinking about this for a while. I wasn't the one that brought it to you, but I've been thinking about it for a while. And I feel like we almost need to, now that we're 3 years into the by area and we're all by area now as opposed to at large, we need to maybe break it a little bit apart and look at the shape of it, not just the schools that belong in the different buckets. And so my understanding of by at large is that the intent was that there would be broader diversity and representation that represent specific areas, because there were areas that didn't have board members that were from those areas. So representing those areas, I think, is very valuable. I also know that we are a unified school district, and because we're unified, that as myself, as a person that was voted by Area 3 voters for my spot, I represent the entire district, and I work with a governing body to unify the entire district. I think that it's very important for me to have an understanding of the diversity within our whole district. And it's also very important for me to have an understanding and a relationship with the community that has voted me in. And so I actually would suggest that we look at the idea of having two types of liaisons. So we have our school liaisons, like what we have now, school site liaisons, and then we have what I would call community liaisons. And so for the school site liaisons, it works the way it has been working. We have every year we have a rotating group of schools that we do liaise with in more of a district centric focus. So how is the policy working at that school? How is staff? How is, the curriculum, those types of things. And then we have during our elected term, we also have a community liaison with the schools in our area. There will be overlap with that. And I would suggest that it would be the families that are in our area, the schools that those families feed into, rather than the schools that are physically located in our area. And then that would be a bit more casual of a liaison. So that would be more about community outreach. That would be about opportunities where we go to the concerts and we meet with the PTAs. And, maybe when we are doing town halls, we have our town halls there when we're trying to gather information or to bring information to the community around budget or, grade reform or whatever it is that we're doing in our position as a board trustee. And then in that community liaison, we're also, because there is overlap and there will be schools that have three of us that are community liaisons, plus potentially a completely different trustee that's the board liaison, right? The school site liaison. Right, the school site liaison. So then we're coordinating, and it takes a little bit more logistics, but we're coordinating that so that the board liaison and the community liaison are the two that happen to go to that, whatever it is, or maybe it's just the board liaison, or maybe it's something that really is more community based, and so then it's specific to the community liaison, and so maybe two of those community liaisons go. And so what that does is that allows us to really, I think do what the by area shift is asking us as a governing body to do, and also align with the fact that we represent a unified school district. And I think that it's very important for us, for our communities, that there's a difference between the Doherty Valley community and the San Juan Valley High School community, for example. I think we saw that during COVID. We saw that, that there were different needs for those two communities. And I think it's very important for us as elected officials to build relationships and have an understanding of the community that we represent. And then be able to take that information and that understanding and bring that to the dais and be able to talk about it in the conversation. So that's kind of my, I guess, way of breaking it apart and looking at it differently.
Okay. Anybody else?
Well, I actually like that idea because I've struggled with, I brought this to you because I felt like since I, as Laura alluded to, were elected by area now, which is different than it was done before, that I wasn't able to, through my liaison assignments, connect with my particular community. But then on the other hand, we all represent the whole school district, and it is important for me and to me to know the diversity and all the differences and nuances from all of the different school sites. So it's been a struggle to try to figure out how to accomplish both, because for our liaison assignments that we have, the normal ones, they rotate every year, and we don't want to stay with the same schools every year if we're going to be able to know the whole district. So I like the idea of having something that is an adjunct to that that would allow us to be able to stay connected and to communicate with the, the areas that elected us. And if this is the best way to do it, I would really welcome it, because it's been a struggle for me this year.
The thing that I find, I mean, I like it in concept and it works when you're looking at it through the lens of your trustee area. But if you look at the overlap among the rest of us, especially Jesse, Shelley, and I, and I'm funny because I'm down at the bottom, but then I wrap up around and I have the Tasahara and Creekside, Diablo Vista area. You'd have this situation where there's three of us that in that particular one, all are pretty evenly spaced. Not if you look at the land, but if you look at where people live. So definitely I'm open to looking more at it. The other thing is we could take what we have and carve it up with a different combination of schools so that it's a little more, I played with it a little bit, but I don't feel like it's ready to show you all yet. But I wanted to honor that you guys brought this, especially Shelley, I know has wanted to discuss this. Susanna or Jesse, do you have anything?
Yeah, well, to me, simpler is probably usually better. But I think that for me, it's very important that we kept it to, yes, we're representing our school district, but we are, right, we're representing also the whole, we're watching out for all the students in our school district and our families. And I know that for me, it has, I mean, I've been able to kind of visit, it's taken a while, but I've been able to visit like all the different school sites, mine as well as, others. And it's really eye-opening to see, the differences and perspectives and stuff. And I got to tell you, in my trustee office hours, actually, I have more visitors with me, right, from other areas. And it may be because, they want to connect with me because of certain, certain background, groups that I'm in, things like that. I don't know why, but then I can also, and same with, I'm sure with you all, I don't know if you might have some of my constituents coming to you because they might want to talk to you, and we can actually present it to the school district and that way. So I think that it's important that we're watching out for the whole instead of just our area, although it is important because we are voted for our area. I just want to make sure that there's a balance and not an over, I guess, on either way, because I think that at least I've seen in several different districts what happens when there's over focus on just my area.
Yeah, but do you think right now there's over focus on area as a whole rather than the specific areas that we've been voted in? I mean, I would love to see opportunities for both, right? I would love to see an opportunity to be able to build long-term connections with my community, as well as opportunities to see the district as a whole.
No, I know, and that's why I think, that's important too. And so I'm open to different ways of doing our liaison. That again, if we can come up with something, let's not that your idea is complicated.
And I played with, like, let's start over from scratch and divide them differently. I don't feel like it's ready to show because I really didn't get to do like a bunch of second guesses on it. So it could be evened out a little more. The one thing that is challenging is that we only have 4 comprehensive high schools. It does help that we can treat Venture and Del Amigo as a unit. Right now they aren't. The person who is in one has a high school and Venture. So now that 35 divides by 5 easier. So we could, that's an easy fix. But I do feel like there's room to improve that last slot where you don't have a comprehensive high school to at least, just even it out better, I guess.
I think I echo a lot of the same sentiments. I like the breadth to be able to really get a full scope of what's going on, especially since I have kids within the district. I get to see those up close and personal, so it's nice seeing things from outside. I would like a little bit more depth, particularly in my area, to be able to connect with the residents, the parents, the teachers, the administrators, the students in that area. And then I think that we're also kind of running into the conundrum of we want to be able to tell these schools who their liaison is now, so we don't want this to drag on forever. And we want all the community to know that they can always approach every single one of us at any time. It's never contact your local representative.
Right.
I don't think we would ever want to throw that vibe out. So I would be open. I like Laura's idea. I hadn't even thought about it in that way before, but maybe it makes sense to start with, if we are going to stick with the kind of that traditional rotating liaison model, and then give us time to maybe workshop out what a community liaison would look like. And the only downside to multiple roles for these schools is, like, we would have to make it understandable. If people get too confused, I'm like, wait, okay, so you're my liaison for this, but not for this. How do I contact you for what? It's the kind of keep it as simple as possible.
Because if you look at the lists, if you can go back to the top, Logan, if you could look at the lists of what Shelley, Jesse, and I have, we have a lot of schools with a pretty significant population in them. And so
It's messy.
it makes that community liaison thing get a little complicated. Doesn't mean we can't, try to work on it, but it does, and because of the overlap too.
Just a thought on that last piece from an operational point of view. I just whispered to Cindy, if we asked our principals to be clear about the different activities that go on at school, and we can put it in our weekly update. The only places where you'd have to be careful if there were more than 2 of you there is if it was like a PTA meeting when you're dealing with board business. So depending upon how it falls, we can provide more information about what opportunities exist that don't fall into that category. So you can just be present to whatever communities you want to be present to, not just if you are the school liaison. But then if many of those schools don't have 3 of you, or you could decide that because of the numbers, only 2 of you would be the community connection, so that you're careful if it relates to business. PTA meetings, ed fund meetings, things that are more formal, where they might be asking you questions, you might be expected to respond, and 3 of you can't be there, but 2 of you can. There's no issue with Brown Act if 2 of you are there. So if the numbers fell in a way that, your idea, Laura, could be considered, you all can go to every school when it comes to that which is informal business. And we could try to be, as I said, more informative about that. But then we could potentially look at it from, if 2 of you were assigned, if you will, to that community space, would the numbers or the way in which people live and all that work?
And I think we'd have to defer to the person who actually is the liaison that year, because with that rotation, they kind of should have first dibs on, that school visit or that whatever, because, that's where really the discrete things that you're asking us to look at and be familiar with are.
And again, my only other comment around community engagement that I've experienced in other jurisdictions. Nothing stops one of you from contacting the PTA at school X, even if you're not the liaison, and says, I'm available to connect if you'd like. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's something that you wanted to do, that you organized, they asked. It doesn't take away the fact that one of you has the school liaison role, but I think that with a little bit of planning and communication, there could be some clarity if you as a body want us to help you think through that. I just wanted to say that I was starting to see possibilities with some guardrails, so that you're not in spaces where we're crossing any Brown Act rules.
Yeah, and maybe it's that the board liaison, the school site liaison, I'm just gonna call it that, even though we didn't, is that structured rotate like we've been doing, and it maybe it still exists in the same way it does with the same number of schools, combining the Venture and Delamigo as a considered to be the same, equal to a comprehensive high school. And then the community liaisons is more casual, and but it's supported. So it's not just each of us kind of, I guess I'll insert myself. It's okay, how can staff help me to let me know what's happening at the school so that the principal doesn't have to connect with me. They've already connected with the district. This is what's happening at our school. And then the staff sees, okay, this is a great opportunity or whatever, or just tells us at your school site, this is what's happening. The board liaison is going to be there. There's also an opportunity for one more, or there's an opportunity for everyone, that kind of.
I would say the only thing that's operationally difficult is formal meetings. We can easily work on getting into the update, what's happening around the district, and just ask our principals to send in when they're having a music night, or whatever kind of night. I think, though, that I would want to really think more deeply if we're talking about formal meetings, because then we're getting into who's going to call everybody to be sure. Are 2 of you going? Are 3 of you going? That's a little more than I think we could take at this point. But if, as a start, you were open to us just asking our principals to submit to the update, what's happening next week, maybe we'll do it differently. What's happening next month when there is that plan, and then you all can go because there's no formal business. You can connect with people, you can talk with people, but you're not in a formal setting. So that's something to consider as well.
And then things like joining you on a site visit, that would
Would be the
stay
school
as it
liaison.
currently is.
And that's just because we try not to have a large number of people beyond what's already happening going in and out of classrooms. It's more of a logistics thing.
And as I played with redistributing it, I kind of liked it. I just didn't feel like I got far enough, but I like the idea of evening it out a little bit more than it already is. Cause you have one year where you got, lots that are in your, or not lots, but more in your area than outside your area. Go
I
ahead,
think-
Lizzie.
I think Dr. Malloy's might be maybe the most straightforward path of having the liaisons, but that there's and maybe we could talk about best practices on how to communicate, but it's it'd be Rachel Hurd is your liaison, and I'm your local area 1 representative. She'll be working with you, but also know that I'm here to help you with whatever that language would look like, so it's clear. But I think the logistics of going, hey, there's this, who's going to this, and we're doing polling of who's showing up.
Well, and
who's
I
not.
think it could get really confusing for the folks at the schools.
Yeah.
Because one school has 3, one has 1, one has 2, one has 1, but a little tiny bit, it just kind of messy. And it was messy by the way the population fits, but it was also a little messy by design so that we wouldn't have these myopic constituencies, that we would stay focused on all. So for this year, what do you want to do? Because we really should nail this down in the next 2 weeks. I mean, we could mull it over. We could have a special meeting. We could wait till the August meeting to firm these up.
I'd like to take a little bit more time to get it to where maybe we think it's in a good place. I appreciate what you did because that's like pretty amazing. So I really appreciate that. But I think if we could just have a little bit more time to mull it over, then we can make a final decision and do it at the next meeting.
Okay. And I'll mull over also I'll take a little more time to put together some other, potential options. The way we've been changing every year and we haven't been that long out of COVID, it really wouldn't be a big deal if we fixed it all up again.
Okay.
And I think we're only 4 days into school at that point, 4 or 5 days into school. So
Yeah.
it's not
Okay. All right. Good discussion. Thank you. Okay, so now that takes us, thank you. So we have one card from Tanisha Jones again. Oh, that was very polite of you. Do you want to switch? Taiwan's a country. You can go first.
First of all, am I heard?
Yep.
First of all, I remember I was here every single time when you guys were talking about district election. It is really undemocratic, especially when we have a small district like this. So I can only now vote for 20% out of the entire 100 of you. So that's 1/5. Now I can only vote for 1/5 of you instead of 100% where I could vote before. So to me, honestly, Miss Bratt, you are a political agent to me. I didn't vote for you. And from all of my observation of you, and since you came on, I just feel that my community, my school district now is more political than ever before. And academics is really put on the back burner. So for me, a parent like me, I wouldn't feel comfortable going to you. However, because we are a democracy, I will respect the fact that my peers elected you. So there needs to be some sort of solution when you mull over this, that when our democracy forces me to respect someone like her who doesn't care about me, who doesn't represent me. I say that because of your politics, and my politics are very different. And there are other politics who is filming me right now. And that is why I need to be able to feel comfortable to go to an alternative. I really highly recommend that President Heard, because of her seniority and the way that I observed her, she has been very neutral and she is very willing to extend a hand, not necessarily because she agrees with me, but because she knows that, that's her position. So I would recommend this, that the four of you represents whatever you're elected or the high school. And I think Venture and Dalmigo can be lumped with, Doherty Valley. I don't have any problem with that because location wise, it is, reasonable for Ms. Bratt to continue representing that. But President Heard, you should be able to be on top of these four, given the fact that your position is the president, your seniority, and also the fact that you are a little bit more political neutral. So for me, I would feel more comfortable to go to you as opposed to go to Ms. Bratt. However, because we are a democracy, I will respect you, Ms. Bratt. All I ask is for you to please ask your grassroots to do the same thing. To me, especially the teachers that you guys hired to further your politics, to please respect the future of my children. They're Americans too. Thank you.
Okay, our second speaker is Tanisha Jones. I'm sorry, I can't get, is it Bailey? Burley, okay.
Again, I'm Tanisha. Just to continue, I did have a question for the San Ramon Unified School District. When we came over, I'm from Michigan, but when we came over, I chose San Ramon Unified School District because it was, when I looked, it was fifth. My son is 4 years in this school. So, but the problem is, as the next person was saying, it seemed like it's declining. So my question is, are you guys going to be among the school systems that help California to create effective leaders, productive students, kind kids, to work with the parents to actually educate the children? Or are you guys going to be one of those forerunners that try to say, hey, let's include this LGBT community and put their stuff ahead of the majority? Because that is a minority and we are the majority. Most kids don't care about it. Most kids don't know about it until it's introduced in the classroom. And it shouldn't be introduced in the classroom because when my kids know they're a boy or a girl, so they don't need to come and be confused at school. Well, they said I can be a non-binary. What? What is that? They shouldn't be confused because what's going on is the confusion and the ignorance that is being placed on these children. And then they're confused about that instead of ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. Instead of learning calculus at 5, they're learning what that guy might think. That girls, you can be anything you want to be. You can be a dog. My kids want to be a dog. Should I put them on a leash and put them outside? My kids say they're superheroes. Should I push them off the roof to see if they can fly? That's not appropriate for anybody. So my challenge to you guys and to the parents and everybody else, because there are laws that are trying to be made that say, trying to take our rights as parents, that if we don't affirm them as a boy or a girl, the state can take them and sterilize our children. That's ridiculous. And that's California. You guys need to look at your legislation and look at what's going on. But the minority, and that's the question for you guys, what school system are you guys going to be? Are you going to keep lowering the standards of California? You're already 44th. So how much lower you want to go? Look at the statistics and look at the data and look at what's going on in this country. And the world is looking at the United States and laughing right now. Thank you.
Okay, that's all the cards we have on this item. We are on item 10.2, which is discussing our district areas. Okay.
Hi, I'm Raina Pasternak. I sit on numerous PTA boards from Cal High to SRV as representatives on various things. I'm also on the CAC. I am here today to talk about how the how the boards are represented to the district with regards to music programs and what kind of representation is provided to you all in regards to the hiring of how this process works.
Okay, Raina, that's not the topic that we're on. We're talking about how we divide up our board member liaisons to different schools in the
So
district.
what board member liaisons are going to Cal, are going to SRV?
It rotates.
Okay, so who are those people to designate? Because I'm curious to know who will speak to Cal specifically about hiring for positions. Who are the liaisons on this board that will reach out to our board with regards to that?
It's on our website, but we can answer which one of us has Cal right now
I have Cal right now.
and who has SRV right now.
Yeah, so I can help. Operationally, on our website, we have a sheet that says the name of the school, the name of the supervisor, which would be district staff, and the name of the board liaison. So any school that needs help
Yes.
would call their principal first. That's what we always ask.
Mhm.
And then if the principal is not able to meet the needs, you would call the supervisor at the district level. And of course, sometimes you would also call the board liaison. And then the board liaison works with the district staff to figure out what the next steps might be. Sometimes it's our responsibility. Sometimes it's the board's responsibility. But that's all published every year and it's updated. It's not updated yet because the discussion we were just having is, will the liaisons change for this school year? So stay tuned at the August meeting. That decision will be made by the board, and then we'll update that list as we have every year at this time.
Okay.
So it's an annual rotation, and it typically changes with the start of the new school year. And what our current discussions, the item that we're on, was, do we want to keep the distribution among trustees the same, or do we want to change it up a bit?
So right now you said, Mrs. Ordway, or Board.
No, I'm the liaison to Cal High.
Thank you. Boardwoman Clark, I would definitely like to be able to touch base with you after with regards to what's going on at Cal and the representation and liaison-ness of between here and what goes on at our school with regards to our music program.
Okay, I'm happy to talk to you. We do have to go back
Yeah.
into closed session after this meeting because we didn't finish up. So I won't be available right away after this meeting, but I'd be happy to give you my information and we can connect.
We're actually friends on Facebook.
All right, well,
Okay, so that wraps up 10.3. We're not taking any action, correct? Okay, so we've already done the consent items. That brings us to administrative matters. Do any board members have a report?
yeah, I have a couple of things I'd like to, unless you have.
Just, very quickly, enjoyed the summer with family and kids, excited to go back to school, sad and excited. A little bit of FOAC meeting preparations, just getting ready for the new year. And had a few meetings with various parents over the summer as well too, just to discuss, ideas and concerns that they had. But relatively, it was a little bit more of a slower pace for the past few weeks. So.
No, it's good. Was able to just had a fabulous but busy summer, and hopefully everyone else had a great summer too. But the last couple of weeks, it's had a chance to attend a couple of things, especially recognizing our students. I was able to attend a performance of the Little Mermaid Junior that was put on by a theater class from our Education Foundation. I think, and I think on behalf of our board, thank Education Foundation, and they're offering these classes through their imagineering classes through summer, which actually are taught by our teachers, our district teachers, and given our student opportunities to learn more skills, and had a fabulous time at the performance last week. I am also on the executive board of a API School Board Members Association, and that's kind of a special interest group off of the California School Board Association. The president and I were able to, APISMA, the School Board Association, actually donated some scholarship money to a group called API Mobilize, which worked with actually Laney College, Laney Community College, that provides classes, leadership classes, youth development classes to high school students during the summer. And we were asked, because we donated some money for their scholarship, to be there at their kind of graduation ceremony. And happily, one of those, because APISMA gave out two, one of the students who received our scholarship and found out two others who participated was actually from our school district. So it was, I just want to call out their name, Andrew Ma from Cal High, who was our scholarship recipient. There's Alice Jiang in Monte Vista High School, and Angelina Zhang, also from Monte Vista. And so just want to give them a shout out for completing this program. And then lastly, yesterday, three of us participated in the facilities field trip to benefiting as we go through our long range facilities plan, and was able to visit several different school districts and school sites, and got, at least for me, I got a lot of new ideas and different ideas on how these districts who've either recently modernized or recently had new construction, and how the technology, or not even technology, but more innovation, and how they do their facilities so that it would better benefit their students and staff. So I really appreciated the field trip. Thank you, Stella, and your team for offering that opportunity, because we went with some community members, parents, and things like that, and it was really, really cool. Thanks.
Well, I hope everybody had a good summer. It was very short, but it was great. And I just want to give out a shout out and a welcome to all of our new teachers and administrators, and say thank you for choosing San Ramon Valley Unified School District as your destination. And to all of our returning staff, we're grateful that you're coming back, and I'm looking forward to our retreat and being able to spend some time and learn some new things. So that's going to be exciting. I participated in a benefit for the Museum of the San Ramon Valley. And the Museum of the San Ramon Valley, if you don't know who they are the ones who maintain the one-room schoolhouse where our students go every year and have a day of school like in the olden days. And it's really a great opportunity for them, educationally, to understand where we came from and where we are now. I provided 150 desserts in the blistering sun, but I managed to not have them melt, so people were very happy. So I'm grateful for that. And as Susanna mentioned, the site visits yesterday to the schools under construction, and we went to Santa Clara, where they had a school site that had an elementary, middle, and high school on the same piece of property. $550 million to build it, and it took 5 years, and it's incredible. It gave us some inspiration. Let's just put it that way, some serious inspiration. But it was really great, and thank you for organizing that and making it happen. So I'm looking forward to the year getting started and to all the work ahead. So thanks for being here, everybody.
So Susanna and I had the opportunity to go to Israel and the West Bank, and it was a transformative experience. I'm still processing it. One of the things that I was able to do was interact with California teachers, a group of California teachers, as well as educational leaders from Southern California and the Bay Area, and the connections that we were able to make, I think will help me as a trustee, and I'm very excited about the work that we can do together. We had a traffics meeting last week, Monday, I think. And then I'm looking forward to the retreat tomorrow. I am going to be there a little bit late, but I'm excited to engage with all the administrators and office management staff. So.
I wanted to give a little update. As you all recall, we supported as a board, as well as our CAC, a bill called SB 691, which was to put into place universal screening for risk of reading difficulties, including dyslexia. And we had a really amazing change of events that happened with the governor's May revise, where he included it in the revise. And then we followed that through the next few weeks, and actually everything that was in the bill got included in the omnibus budget. And so we're that much more ahead of it, but it's all going to go forward, and it's going to happen in California. Actual full implementation won't be till the 25-26 school year, but super exciting watching how the sausage is made, and just that whole piece. And I thank this board for your leadership of putting our approval out there, because several other school districts followed, and it was really great to watch the things get legs. I really enjoyed our site visit yesterday. Stella, thank you for including me as well. It was amazing and super well organized, and really great to have that time. And there was something else I was thinking of saying, but I can't remember, so we'll go till next time. So anything else from you, John? Okay, let's go ahead and adjourn open session. We are returning to closed session to do some more closed session business that we didn't finish, and we won't be reporting out afterwards. Thank you all for joining us tonight.